Okay, hi, I'm Denise from the library, and this is not a poem, but this is an excerpt from a book I read last year, Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward. It's pretty powerful. It's a memoir, and she is a pretty well-known author, and she chose to write about a couple years in her life when 5 young Black men that she knew died, and it was quite um, it's a powerful book. It's sad, but anyway, I'm just going to read just a little bit. As Joshua said when we were kids hunting down ghosts, somebody died here. From 2000 to 2004, 5 Black young men I grew up with died, all violently, in seemingly unrelated deaths. The first was my brother Joshua. The second was Ronald. The third was CJ. The fourth was Demond. The last was Roger. That's a brutal list in its immediacy and its relentlessness. And it's a list that silences people. It silenced me for a long time. To say this is difficult is an understatement. Telling this story is the hardest thing I've ever done. But my ghosts were once people, and I cannot forget that. I cannot forget that when I'm walking the streets of Delisle, streets that seem even barer since Hurricane Katrina. Streets that seem even more empty since all these deaths, where instead of hearing my friends or my brothers playing music from their cars at the county park, the only sound I hear is a tortured parrot that one of my cousins owns. A parrot that screams so loudly it sounds through the neighborhood. A scream like a wounded child from a cage so small, the parrot's crest barely clears the top of the cage. Sometimes when that parrot screams, sounding its rage and grief, I wonder at my neighborhood's silence. I wonder why silence is the sound of our subsumed rage, our accumulated grief.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to read anything? So I have one I want to read. So a bit of history. So I'm half Black and half Mexican, and my mom used to do my hair. These tight ponytails, high bun. I loved my hair as a kid. But then I eventually had to do my own hair. It was the worst experience of my life, and I hated my hair through most of my life until I hit my 20s, when I could finally figure out that if you put enough conditioner and soak your hair and brush it at the same time, it will be done. And so I still carried that burden for a really long time, to the point that when I was pregnant with my daughter, I prayed that she would have long, straight hair so she'd never have to go through that journey like I did. And so this poem kind of reminds me a little bit of that inner struggle. I don't necessarily feel that same way anymore, but I definitely used to have that, felt like a burden for a long time. Yesterday, in a writing circle, a young girl who does not know the history of her worth shared a poem addressed to God, asking him why he made her Black and gave her nappy hair of wool, and why the color of her skin was rooted in all things evil. And I listened, pretending my heart wasn't breaking for her, and for me, and for all brown girls who have ever spent time wishing away traces of their Blackness. Yesterday, my niece insisted we watch Beyonce's Lemonade twice. She cried and I cried for the second time that day, and then Jesse Williams' speech brought me to my knees, and there was another flood of tears. I cried for the fire that keeps us going. I cried to be strong like those who came before me. I cried to lay my burdens down and be no ways tired. I cried as I stood up. By Kiana Davis. Does anybody else want to read anything?
I have a poem, but I'll definitely defer if there are any students who would like to go.
No, it's okay. That'd be great, Lori.
All right, this is a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks. She's one of the first poets that I remember discovering and loving when I was in middle school. And this is a poem called Sadie and Maud, and it's kind of about my worst fear about what we're doing in the education business. So Sadie and Maud. Maud went to college. Sadie stayed at home. Sadie scraped life with a fine-tooth comb. She didn't leave a tangle in. Her comb found every strand. Sadie was one of the livingest chits in all the land. Sadie bore 2 babies under her maiden name. Maud and Ma and Papa nearly died of shame. When Sadie said her last so long, her girls struck out from home. Sadie had left a heritage, her fine-tooth comb. Maud, who went to college, is a thin brown mouse. She's living all alone in this old house. The end.
And does anyone else want to read anything? Okay, so a few more minutes and then we're going to get started. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate this. I'm so excited. Khalil, thank you again for doing back-to-back days. This is amazing. And we definitely have some new faces in the crowd tonight.
And I was just going to say, we'll do the 3 raffle prizes at the end of our session tonight. So I'm taking everybody's names down and I'll pull names out of a hat.
So I will get started and I'll tell some of you that aren't familiar with Khalil a little bit about him. And let me just start with that. So Khalil Houston is a spoken word artist out of Richmond, Virginia, and has an incredible gift with words. As a child, Khalil always embodied the art of creative thinking and expression. His relationship with poetry started at the age of 10 when he was assigned to perform a poem in front of his class. After losing his 3 brothers to a triple homicide, poetry became essential to his life. Over the years of pursuing poetry, Khalil has evolved into a photographer, videographer, and community activist in his hometown of Richmond, Virginia. He's committed to working with youth to inspire them to find and use their voices as well. And I just want to say, I was so excited when Khalil was willing to give me this opportunity to host him at Cuesta College. We don't have very many Black youth poets that present at Cuesta, and so I felt like this was needed to reach out to some of our youth and to give us a taste of what life is like in your eyes as a young Black man. So you have the floor.
How y'all doing? Everybody okay? Everybody well? Everybody safe? Everybody healthy? We living in some real times right now. Yeah, the death rates, COVID. We just live in a particular time right now. So, like she read my bio, a small description of who I am. Poetry is very essential to my life. It has changed my life, transformed my life, and before I get started, I just want to say thank you and extend my gratitude to Christina and all the administrators who put this together. Very thankful. A boy, from Richmond, Virginia. I'm not there in person, but I'm there with you right now, in virtually. So I definitely appreciate this opportunity. So tonight, it's gonna be a mixture of the same poems that I did yesterday and a few add-ons. It's going to be a mixture of a little thing, of a little bit about everything. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. Okay. And like we can react, you can put something in the chat. And one thing I want to do this before I get started, right? If you have access to like a pen or a paper, you can write down anything that you hear that hits home with you. And during the Q&A, we could discuss, or whatever the case may be. If you want to make a comment about it, or if you had a hard time understanding what it said, like I definitely want to interact at the end. So Yeah, you're open to do that. Okay. All right. So who am I? I'm an earthquake, a tornado, a young nigga from Richmond, VA that shakes and flip things back together. I'm a natural miracle that washes away disasters, and my voice be a hurricane, a two-legged creature that runs seas with the tip of a pen. I'm an architect. Blueprint details of details. My structure is solidified from the laws of my childhood. I'm blessed that my scars didn't come from straight bullets. I'm blessed that my scars came from playing tag on the concrete. I'm a boy who pretends to be a man. A boy that loves the sight of his mother, but hates the sight of his own reflection, regretting that the earth gave birth to my bones, but bones were never meant to be broken, but only meant to grow. I'm a case, not a case study, not a statistic, not a nigga, but a young man with a Harlem Renaissance soul who prefers jazz over hip hop. I'm the keys on Duke's piano, the strings on Charlie's guitar. I'm blues. I'm the product of Nina Simone, of southern trees, of strange fruit, a black body swinging in the southern breeze. I can't shake the smell of burning flesh, but my flesh makes the sun shine brighter on the reflection of every star we pray to. Ashe. Amen. To the gospel at Sunday service, I'm the scriptures that they read every morning, the blood that shed it in the name of freedom. I'm Marge's nightmare. I'm Malcolm's last speech. By any means, my actions are always affirmative. I'm David's appeal. My bondage was never supported by my God, but my God was given to me by my master. I'm a slave that picked up Nat Turner's sword, a black messiah that have always feared, the known and the forgotten. I'm the blood that keeps America alive, the untold story of black youth. I'm the reason my father is proud to be a father. My life is the gift that keeps giving. Both college student and poet, I'm a walking contradiction, prism of conviction. I have a right to live, so I write to live. I'm the one that sees everything and says nothing. I'm quiet. I'm patient. I'm present. I'm alive. Who am I?
I gotta mute myself to give you some fingers. So
No, like that's what I want. Like you come off mute, you know, do whatever you want to do. I want to say like that poem was inspired by matter of fact, two poets actually on the West Coast right now. International poet, he go by the name of Prentice Powell, and another poet, he go by the name of Obi West. And I want to say last year they did this Who Am I challenge, and you have to describe yourself through poetry of who you are. You know, a lot of times we like to introduce ourselves and you know, introduce ourselves by name and tell us like what's our career and things like that. But a poem allows you to go in depth of who you are. So the basis of like the poem was just like to describe of like where I come from, of how I see the world, you know. So yeah, that's my introduction to you all. So next poem, I stand here before God, on my hands and knees, begging to breathe for my heartbeat to stop beating. In between my visions, I have lost my vision. Upon conquering my self-reflection with a sense of value, but losing sight has made me less insightful. Struggling on a daily basis between dialogue of demons, constantly reminding me that I'm a broken man, shattered into millions of pieces with secrets upon secrets. I never knew my disparities would make me a disparity. Hyperventilations leading to miscommunications. Trying to explain yourself to yourself is always a problematic equation, like isolating your ex by subtracting from both sides. It's not how you always find value in this world. But the world doesn't seem to speak a mathematical language. Like 1 + 1 is 3, 4 - 2 is 5, 6 divided by 6 is 6. No correct steps to add, subtract, or divide. So I multiply these thoughts of reason to give me reason to write this poem, flipping the pages of a life's manuscript, demanding answers for a question like, why does the world speak with a broken language, standing in a dark room, spilling thoughts on a pad I was told to express myself, but spoken word always seems to fall on deaf ears. But I hope they hear my screams written from the wall, baptized in the names of my forefathers, shackled with fear and anxiety, with contemplation of suicide. But is it still considered suicide when you're surrounded by a world that has already died? Questions after questions like, why does the world speak with a broken core? Why is it proper to be broken but not proper to seek repair? Why did I choose fear over my freedom, wiping my blood off the floor before stitching my wounds? This is what happens when you let your demons make your decisions, like loving somebody that really hates you and killing something that really gives you life. But broken people always make broken decisions. I have tried over the years to stitch myself back together with glue and tape, but never managed to construct a solid foundation. As I watch my insecurities pour out the cracks in my state of being while spelling out my name. Coward. You can never face the man in the mirror if you never acknowledge the boy that was broken. Like, how can a son to his mother that he was molested by her oldest son? Or how can a daughter to her mother that she was raped by her own brother? Or how can a broken people teach people how to break themselves? Because family secrets always leads to family sickness. And now we have a generation of hashtag me too's, like me too, you too, I did it too. Sweep it under the rug, but now we have mental issues like, I want love, but I don't know how to properly love myself. Or if he hits you, that means he loves you. Or I love women with low self-esteem is because my mother never demanded nothing higher than herself. I never asked to be broken, but it's my God-given right to be repaired of a damaged world that spits on its own soil, but I seek the sun. As a reminder that we are not only defined by our experiences, and that pain is always temporary. Thank you.
How do you top that, Khalil? That was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to say my journey on poetry has led to a significant amount of healing. You know, poetry is definitely, I believe from my personal perspective is that poetry is one of the most, if not the rawest form of art. Meaning it requires you to go to a place where you hide from the world. And a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge what's going on within themselves. And through the platform and through the art form of poetry, I have definitely healed myself from traumatic experiences that rather be child abuse, rather be neglect, or anything that I have experienced in my life. So I definitely advise people to find something. If it's not poetry, find something that makes you a better person, and do that every day. Do that every day, and when you do that every day, you inspire other people to find something that they love as well. So yeah, I definitely encourage people to heal whatever. I'm a mental health advocate. I tell people, I don't tell people, but I advise people to go to therapy and things like that. So traumatic experiences definitely play a big role in our lives, and how we respond to it. It's going to be the detrimental or the prevental process in how we move through our adulthood. You know, so yeah, if you're broken, make sure that you repair yourself so you don't break other people. Okay. So next poem. I said a lot just now.
Let it breathe, brother.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright. So I graduated from high school with a 1.3 GPA. From the field of academia, I will be classified as a dumbass. That the end result was my grade point average, pointing to show the world that my intelligence was non-existent. That my very being was being a mistake, and that success was only a pagan myth. At least that's how I felt. Battling with teachers who treated me like an isolated inmate for simply refusing to to sit at a desk to write on stories that I knew wasn't real headlines, propping my mouth wide open to force feed me pledge of allegiance to a flag that united against me. And we say we love our children. But the question is, do we love our children enough to love ourselves first? Just a thought of how we self-neglect our self-worth while baptizing our children in the name of education without understanding what that term really means. And the context of the word isn't based on the measure of intelligence, but the influence of instruction. I advise for you to read chapters 1 through 4, not for the sake of enhancing your reading, but to enhance your B to an A. B stood for barely, A stood for anticipation, barely anticipating the purpose for my existence, but mama told me to go to school. But school told me to go back home. That your sense of intelligence is not welcome here. We don't need you to be intelligent, so don't you dare ask no motherfucking questions that we can't answer. You just listen, 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 write, sit, stay, don't laugh, walk in a straight line, read this, write that. Slang is not a language. Who told you to speak this way? Who told you Christopher Columbus was a slave trader? Who told you Abraham Lincoln hated black people? Who told you Thomas Jefferson owned slaves? Who told you you was the first on this planet? Who told you to be you? Why do people trade in self-efficiency for efficient funds? As if money can buy back the times your mother said, I loved you with no grading scale. As if a letter grade can determine your range of success through memorization and recitation, but this is what we call education. Because it's strange to me that they tried to diagnose me with ADHD, but the teachers couldn't point out the GCF of life. So all I was left with was the LCD, denominator of a demise institution that tried to teach me the art of self-hate. So I love every bit of me, from a 1.3 to pursuing an English degree to writing life-changing poetry. My success is endless because my self-love was the starting point. So remember, self-worth will always be dictated by self-love. Thank you. It's very, I want to go to the chat because I definitely want to go to the chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's like my experience with the public educational system, with the public educational system right here in Richmond, Virginia, was not a pretty sight. I definitely, that's a real story in which like the teachers, it came to the conclusion that I had ADHD, and Mom Dukes wasn't having it. She was like, you know, it was more of a thing of like, how can you diagnose a child who has ADHD, but he's in a very unhealthy learning environment and you expect him to pay attention? And there's a stigma of how, I don't know, and this is my personal gripe, is that I feel as though children may be diagnosed at a very young age, in which like they don't check the environment in which the child is already processed in. And we have a tendency to misdiagnose young Black boys, in which like it's a whole business behind it, in which like schools get paid behind the diagnosis and everything. But there was no real account on if I should be diagnosed with ADHD. And by the grace of my mother, I wasn't hooked on Ritalin. I wasn't all these all these drugs that does a significant harm to the brain and the body at a very young age. So yeah, it's definitely my process in the educational institution was definitely challenging, and just learning about history, and I understand who I was as a young child. And growing up, I felt like I was kind of rebellious to a certain degree. Not disrespectful, but kind of rebellious. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling right now, but I can definitely just move on to the next poem if that's okay. I'm gonna do a short poem. And this might be controversial, but it's okay. If a university locks down campus and keeps students on campus, it is no longer called a university. You now have an insane asylum, where the classrooms are designed for us patients and the professors are misinformed doctors that prescribe homework to medicate our anxiety. The world goes to shit, and colleges fill their pockets with our desire to gain a degree, to gain a job in hopes to pay for a degree that we try to utilize. The job market is an unfaithful relationship. And right now she's married to COVID-19, married to the possibility that nothing will ever be the same. That this is not another this shall too pass moment. We are here for the hereafter, to reap the rewards of the dead bodies we had to step across, to read and write up assignments for educational institutions. But can an institution still be called educational when it can't teach its students about life after college? That your political science degree may mean nothing if it can't change the politics of this world, of how every politician uses our pain to milk votes from our communities, starve our healing, and we'll beg for the vaccine. Beg for the opportunity to take our mask off in the grocery aisle, because Lord knows we only got one life to breathe. Just ask the ones that got choked out by America's finest, and all it took was one knee. Ain't it funny how your suffering can make someone else feel comfortable? As if there's not a fire next door, a protest downtown, or a dead body in the street. And now, in 2020, a virus has snatched both lives and dreams from the places we call home. A place that will never be the same. Thank you. And that poem was in a response to how I didn't like how colleges and universities were responding to the outbreak and to the pandemic. Right here, I go to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, and it was a big protest first day on campus, in which it was a large sum of students that came back, and I think we had over 70 confirmed cases in the first week. So there's a safety measure that was kind of broken and kind of neglected throughout the nation, from my perspective. JMU, Norfolk State, a lot of places, a lot of students were put in harm's way, from my perspective, in the name of finances or in the name of keeping the institution open. And I definitely had by the grace of God, I live right here in Richmond, so I don't have to travel at an alarming rate to get to school. But I definitely am blessed because I wasn't in a situation where I had to be amongst a lot of people. VCU is one of the colleges that kept the outbreak at a good rate, but throughout the nation, I just felt as though that we didn't handle that responsible at all. So yeah, that's my poem on that. So moving forward, let's get to another poem. They say invisible children don't have parents, that our birth certificates don't have signed signatures or dates, that we come from a place of nowhere, where home sits between a dream and a reality, that home is not a place where the heart lives, that a heart is made for a human body and this body is not considered flesh, that this body is a glass house that doesn't come from a household, that this body is made of brim and got stoned by those who couldn't see our faces, and we wonder if home ever seen our depths. Did it see the grave sites pile up while our bones were buried beneath its foundation, and we hope that our screams were heard from our bedroom doors? Will monsters watch us sleep every night to appease their appetites? Every morning, we're told not to hit our knees. That even though we go to church, invisible children has gods that you cannot see. That America deems us as children born of sin, too dark or too invisible to reap the blessings from this dark soil that was harvested from dark people that was taught to remain invisible from the sun, from the whip, from master's late night cabin fever. Grandmama said she gave him everything and all she got was a slap on the ass like the cow she milks, the cow that's seen as a citizen before her, that America's milk is more important than a black woman's vagina. It's funny how my identity is enough to milk, but not enough to be seen. That America's cameras only flashes in my face is when I'm running with balls to dump between her legs. The irony of mandingos flexing their strength to see how weak they are, but we've never been seen as strong before. That our strength is only recognized is when our rage has cracked our fathers' faces at Mount Rushmore. That my rage reminds this country of New Orleans Katrina. That I'm black enough to watch and die, but too invisible to be saved. Hoodies washed away with our declaration of shame. We still remain the criminals on TV screens. When the shame never belonged to us. When a veil has lifted more than enough times to show that it is not us who is invisible, but it's the world that chooses not to see itself. Thank you. We could, I mean, y'all can say something, like you can say whatever right now. I mean, it's all good. And that poem, if anybody was to come across Claudia Rakin, and she has a book of poetry called The Citizen. And she deals with the concept of how Black people deal with the double consciousness of being a citizen and not being a citizen at the same time. Meaning your citizenship is not taken in full account as your white brethren. So the thing is about it connects with the I don't know if you're familiar with W.E. Du Bois. Or Dubois, some people pronounce his name as, from a French perspective, but he deals with the concept of the Negro and the double consciousness, and how the Negro is both American and Black at the same time. And we live in the concept of how we're not, our lives are only looked at in an account in which it makes as a collective, as in a collective of how our lives are not looked at in a full account in comparison of how it may feel of, how can I perspective? I'm trying to articulate this because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's like our lives is put in a place in which it has to measure up to white people's perspective of how they see us. And we're not allowed to operate out of the paradigm of an American. It's like, this is what it is. This is who we are. And we struggle with that, rather it be police killing on TV, rather it be Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. We're getting murdered right on the TV screen. And social media is just streaming our deaths, and our death is not even taking in full account, as if we were dogs in the street. As if we were not a citizen. So I definitely challenge people to reconsider what's going on around you and how you can be effective in making change, because it's gonna take a collective effort. White supremacy, racism, white supremacy not only affects non-white groups, but it affects white groups as well. It definitely plays an impact on how we interact with each other, how we move with each other, how we just build, So yeah, I'm a citizen, born and raised in this country, and I do acknowledge the fact that slavery is a part of my it's a part of my heritage. So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and move to the next poem. That's okay. I think we got one more, I believe. One more, Christina. It's 9:40 right now.
Are you gonna do a long poem next?
Probably it's not too long.
Yeah. No, I think I just am not ready for this to end. That's
Right.
We do two, but if you have time for one, that's good.
Understood. I got you. Okay. So
you're not the only one.
Got you. I'm gonna do a short one. Do a short one. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Make sure I got it right here. Okay. I'm surprised to see I'm still here. That my body is still present in a world that's vanishing before my eyes. A world that prescribes fear for survival. A world that promotes death before life, a life that's monetized by corporation. This body is a dead corpse. And this soil has already prepared a coffin for my bones. Of how constant witnessing death makes you want to stay alive. That death makes you want to grab hold of the ones that still breathe. And I thank God for the sound of my heartbeat. That I'm still able to tell my parents I love you. That I'm still able to shake my father's hand. I pray for the ones that has lost loved ones. I'm sorry. That a ventilator took the breath outside of your body, that now a funeral service has now become a streaming service. Our reality is a virtual paradise, where the only time we share love is through a FaceTime group chat. That live performances has been placed in a social media prison. We spit bars while the world is in the lockdown, and we live by going live on IG. Social distancing has now become our new love. Social distancing has now become our new love language. Where we kiss through a glass screen and pray we all survive the grim reaper. That death doesn't take our right to breathe the next day. This poem is dedicated to us. For our bones have remained strong and our bodies have not been crushed from the pressure of this world. I woke up with a smile on my face. With a bottle and water in hand, we pour libations for the blessings we've already had. For the pleasure to wake up with a roof over our heads, for the blessing to kiss our loved ones every morning. Life is not about time being spent, but how time is being spent. Pandemics teach the world that human beings are not disposable, and relationships are formed to be cherished. That it shouldn't take a quarantine to teach us how to love again. That a conversation with yourself can be both lonely and an amazing experience. My fight with depression has led me to exercise my right to breathe, to build my future from yesterday's past, to be thankful that I haven't become a virus to myself. Today, we let our words and actions be the cure to our diseases. Today, we take pride that we are still alive. Today, we say F you to COVID-19. This body will drop when the ancestors call my name. My name is Khalil. And today, I survived. All right. I'm gonna do one more and we gonna go to Q&A. That's okay? All right, one more. So this is a poem that I've been working on for the past 2 days, and it's not done, but I'm gonna still share it. If that's okay with y'all. If I can find this paper.
We like exclusives.
Oh yeah. Mr. Theo, how you doing, sir?
What's happening, man? How are you?
I'm all right, man. Just living the dream.
You are, man. Keep that work going.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Oscar Grant, Eric Garner, Sean Reed, Corin Gaines, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, Rashad Brooks, Elijah Ellis, Elijah McClain, Trayvon Martin, Carlos Carson, Aaron Bailey, Corey Jones, Eric Harris, Rakia Boyd, Tamir Rice, Emmett Till, Karan Charles. The list of dead Black names is all you need to make a poem. That no metaphor is needed to describe how Black bodies fertilizes a country's soil. That some say that Black bodies look better underground, a ground we scream freedom on, while the list of dead Black bodies continues as each name represents trauma and a trend. That a hashtag could turn a name into a protest, a name that can be landmarked in a trivial time. Each name switches as we switch the channel. Black death It's a popular marathon. And it's the only thing that sells tickets in this country like a Sunday night Bedingo fight. We love to see black bodies broken. Like, what do you say when social media shows a shotgun put to a man's chest and he's no longer breathing? Or a grown man screams for his mama while his neck is being driven through the concrete. It's always hard to breathe when our country chokes the life out of your name or the African out of your bloodline. My forefathers never intended for me to hang from a tree, that I would live in a time that my name will be added to a list I didn't create, a list that's marked with death, a list that screams we haven't overcame anything. I don't need 40 acres and a mule. I need a spaceship to leave this plantation. A debt that collects blood, names, and bodies is a debt never repaid. Of how we put stocks in a stock market, stock meaning livestock market, all backs of black backs, all corporations owe me a slice of the blood money they hide in their bank accounts or their police academies or the institutions that teach our children that our names derive from the sound of a whip. My name is the only thing I have to hold on to. My name is the only thing I have to hold on to. And I'm trying my best not to lose my grip. That's all I got for that poem. But yeah, definitely. I would say I was breaking this down yesterday, and I was describing of how real quick, so because I definitely want to go to the Q&A. But I was describing of how the names and the names change of how each year, every 6 months or however much the names change, in which like there's another police shooting unarmed black man, and which means that if the names is constantly changing, that there's no change, there's no progress, there's no accountability, there's no justice in a sense, right? So a lot of times we like to get behind names, but we don't like to address the issue like it should be addressed. So I definitely want to go to Q&A, man. I don't want to wrap on too long, but I definitely want to go to Q&A. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Does anyone have a question they want to ask?
Did anybody write anything down? You know, that you wanted to if you wanted to ask me a question or whatever, you know.
I did write a bunch of stuff down, but just with your last poem that you read that's in progress, I just wanted to comment and have a question. So one is, I love that you have it written down. And second, how many like drafts or throwing away pieces of paper does it look like to get to that piece of paper that you had in your hand?
Well, that's my second draft.
That is amazing. That's amazing. Because I remember you said yesterday, you know, like if you write something and it's not coming to you, you just leave it.
Right.
Back to it.
And it's like sometimes we wait, and I want to add on to that, is that sometimes we wait on inspiration, but a lot of times we have to walk towards inspiration to create something. You know, inspiration comes, but you can walk to it as well. So like last night, actually, like I just started writing. I was like, I believe it was not even last night, it was this morning. Like I was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm up trying to finish this poem. So yeah, I was definitely inspired. Because it's a heavy poem, and like I feel like I can go on and on about it. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments?
I actually just want to say that this is as powerful as what it was yesterday, but there is so much more emotion in today. So I really appreciate you just doing 2 days. It's nice to see the transition from how it is having Khalil in the daytime and having Khalil at night, and It is amazing. And I do want to say that I think what really stuck with me are 2 of your sayings. I'm a boy, not a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
Broken people make broken decisions, and pain is temporarily. Those are so powerful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's true. Broken people do make broken decisions, and broken people break other people. And the knowledge in is that the reason why I say I'm a boy is because we are always growing. We are always making mistakes. We are always trying to better ourselves, because we like to say the terms. Like somebody said, another poet, he go by the name of 13th of Nazareth, and he said that adults are nothing but children with bills. And I just had to like snap on it. I was just like, it made so it's vital. It's because we're always growing. We're always grooming ourselves to get to the next level and the next step in life. So I never want to arrive at the conclusion that I'm here. Like, no, you still have a lot of ways to go. So yeah, thank you for recognizing that. Thank you.
And please keep this mentality. You are going to go so far, and do not give up on your education. Remember yesterday, age is nothing but a number. Don't let your age discourage you from going to grad school. You got this. The next step, you're going to go to grad school. Keep that in your head.
Okay. I received that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Denise?
I just, I mean, your stuff is all great, but something I wrote down just really simple was the end of the Who Am I poem. I'm present, I'm alive. I mean, that has a lot to say for anybody right now. So thank you for that.
Right. And it's like, a lot of times we get up, we go, we work, we get up when we go to school, we get up and we just constantly moving. But a lot of times we don't like to stay, we don't like to be in that moment in which like just being present and being just being thankful that we are alive and we are breathing, you know. So simple line, but it makes a big difference. I definitely started meditating for the past few weeks. So like it definitely gives me a better perspective on like just being present in the moment when nobody's around, when you have free time to yourself. We got to allow ourselves to be present so we can go further in life, to appreciate life, you know, because life, I feel like we make it short by not appreciating the time that we have. So yeah.
Alrighty. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Can I add to that with Denise? I wrote that same sentence down, and I just wanted to comment in much of your poetry, but in that one especially, I love the rhythm that took us to that statement.
Right.
Which I did not write because it was all coming at us like
right.
we're eating it up like, oh my, yes, this is it. And then it's like to the I am present and I am still, and whew, like I don't know if I could speak for everybody, that definitely floods emotions.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I feel like a lot of people got questions to ask, but everybody's kind of shy to talk. You don't have to be shy to talk. You can say something. You can just say, man, you did a good job.
You did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
I wrote down something that somebody else said already too about the broken people and the broken decisions. Then I don't know if it was the same poem or another one because I just was writing stuff down, but then there's kind of like I don't know, maybe along the same line. Self-worth will always be dictated by self-love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that really caught my attention.
Right. Because it's good to have goals in our lives. It's good to strive towards like things that's outside of ourselves. You know, we go to school, but a lot of people dropped out of college just because they didn't do good in a semester. And that semester they felt as though that they didn't belong in college, or they felt as though that they wasn't going to have a good college career. So in the terms, they got down on themselves, they got severely depressed, and in their minds that I failed and my worth is nothing now. You know, somebody can get an F and that life is ruined. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's definitely, I'm not advising nobody to get no Fs, but I wouldn't advise for you to accept the F as your destiny or accept the F as something as concrete for your success. Because at the end of the day, it's like, whatever you do in life, it's going to be moments in which you fail. Moments in which, like, you know, as the old saying goes, fall down 7 times, get up 8. You know, so yeah, it's like you got to have self-worth before you got to validate yourself before anything validates you. I am Khalil Houston, and my worth is not dictated by a degree or anything that I do. My worth is dictated because I'm here and I'm breathing. So, yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate how you focus on mental health. And what I wrote down was, there was one phrase that you had that said, family secrets become family family sickness. Yes,
Yep.
I thought that was so powerful, and that resonated so much with me, how within our families we have so many secrets, and it's created so much illness within all of us. Yeah.
Right.
But thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we got to acknowledge the pain. We got to acknowledge what we go through in order to heal. And we like to we don't like to address certain things just because it may be our uncles or our brothers or our sisters or our mothers or our dads or whatever. But nobody is allowed to hurt you. Nobody. Mama, daddy, whatever. That's just what it is. Like, you can't,
I have a question.
Yes.
For you. Actually, I came into your presentation tonight late, but my friend Edona, she reminded me, she sent me a text. I'm like, I gotta get on.
Okay.
And so I apologize for missing some of it, and if you already talked about this, but what are you doing next? Like, this was amazing and mind-blowing and very emotional, but so powerful. And I'm just curious as to do you have a book out? Are you going to be making, what's next for you?
What's next for me is that I do have a book in the process. I've been dropping dates in the past, but I'm not going to drop no dates no more. It's because I'm going to get it done. The next time somebody hear about my book, it's going to be a link in which they can purchase the book. Cool. But what's next for me is definitely a book. I'm in the process of getting my bachelor's degree this May coming up in English.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Awesome. It's been a long, man. But definitely what's next is that hopefully I can come to y'all.
That would be awesome.
When COVID is done, I could definitely do an in-person workshop, performance, whatever's asked of me. Like I would definitely love to come out. And virtual is cool, but it's nothing like that in person. Like that in person is everything. So yeah, like what's next for me is just a book, and just more writing, and
very
just
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And and I want to put it out there is that I know we only have a few minutes, but oh, Christina already put it in there. Oh yeah, you can follow me right now at Khalil_Houston. You can contact me, whatever. Like all my information is right there on Instagram. I like connecting with people. I love conversating with people. And she said, is it I already followed you? Okay, cool. Cool. Understood.
I wanted to say something before it's over, Khalil. I've been cooking up, so I haven't been writing anything down, but I just wanted to say that even though we're not in person, your reading, your poetry is still so powerful, and I really felt it. And it makes me so happy, and almost kind of brings like a sense of peace, but also a sense of like, let's go out there and like, let's go get them, because there's a lot of work to be done in this country. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy that there's people out there like you that are using their gifts to bring awareness to, things that we got to fix. So Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Really. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just, we're going to do a raffle now, but Khalil, so I found him on Instagram, and we had 2 conversations, and each time he said, how did you find me? Where did you find me at? And but thank you so very much for adding to Cuesta College's Black History Month. I couldn't ask for a better poet for this year, and man, I know we took a chance on you, but I feel like you took a chance on our school, and it's been so worth it. So when you finish your book, let's make it a book of the month or something. Let's have you talk about it. Let's follow up with that. So, and I do not expect you to have a master degree, I see you being Dr. Houston eventually. So yeah, it'll happen. Don't worry.
I receive that though. I appreciate that.
See, you know, me and her always just gotta go. We just always gotta argue.
Right.
So I'm here, be nice
No,
with the whole entire graduate school, and she pops off with the PhD. But I know you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that. That's for sure.
Don't mind over matter on the homework, because that's what's scaring you. Not everything, but it's the homework that scares everybody. But you got it.
I want, like somebody told me that of who I am. They said the master's program would probably be more probably be a better, like a walk in the park for me, because of, like, when you in your undergrad, not a walk in the park, but like when you in your undergrad, it's almost like you got tedious classes that you necessarily don't want to take. But when you're in your graduate, it's like, from what I was told, is that it's more discussion based and everything. So I feel, yeah, I receive that. I definitely receive that. Definitely.
Our master program is a lot of reaching into the heart, and I think it's a lot of healing that takes place. And so there's a lot of more emotional of a journey that you have to take to put into your work. And I think so it may feel easy because it's more of a passion, but it's still, you have to be willing to go there. And I think you're already there. So it may be easy for you. But are we ready to do the raffle, or does anybody else want to say anything to Khalil before we're done?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you too. That was a really amazing presentation. The way you read your poetry, the way it flows, and then most importantly, the conversation that your poetry elicits after the fact is truly amazing. So thank you again for taking the time to be here yesterday and today. I was at both sessions and I felt like I took something different from each session, and just a little bit more. Each time you read a poem of yours, I feel like there's just something else that you can take from it. And yeah, so it's just great. So thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Really appreciate that.
I hear somebody that's been in the building with you a few times, man. You inspire me each and every time. Continue that work. And trust me, y'all, if y'all get a chance to get him live, you think you feel it now, catch him in the building.
Shout out to Theo, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Well, Christina, why don't I go ahead and draw the 3 names for the 3 prizes, and then there may still be a comment or 2 after that. But so what I've done is I've got little slips of paper with your names in a hat. I don't have the wheel that Susan, my colleague, has. She's got it, so I don't have the spinning wheel, but I will. Okay, and what I have is 3 $25 gift cards to Target, and they were funded by the Cuesta College Foundation. Okay, here's winner number 1. Dawn, D-A-W-N. And is it Grillo or Grillo?
I say Grillo.
Grillo, okay, Dawn. And I think Allie will have the emails of each person. Okay, so I'll send that off to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, let me shake it up. Number 2 is Shay Horn. All right, Shay. And we'll get your email address as well. I know you. You've come to some poetry stuff before, I think. All right, and we've got one last. Let me shake it up again. Okay, Sagan has won. All right. And I don't know if she is still here. You don't have to, oh yeah, you are. Okay. So I will send that off to you tomorrow as well. All right, guys.
I have Sagan's email address. So
I have hers.
You do?
So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I will get that off. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll turn it back to you, Christina.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to say anything? I don't think we can praise you enough, Khalil, for what you did these past 2 days. But I do want to take a moment to thank everyone who helped finance this event happening. So Quay from Equity, Dawn, Friends of the Library, And thank you to everyone, Allie, Denise, everyone that put time into this event happening, and Dawn, one of our Black Student Union Club president, for helping support this event as well.
And thank you, Christina, for
Thank
putting
you.
this on.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Yeah,
This was
thank you.
amazing.
Great choice, Christina.
You get some good content.
Was this recorded? Oh, I see it recorded right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Please send that to me when you get a chance.
Is there any way that Khalil could send us out with like one more, or even encore of something before we all say goodbye?
We can.
Encore.
Encore? Okay. Let me see. Let me think. So transparency, as described in the bio, I lost my brothers to a triple homicide. Changed my life for the worst and the best. And this poem is dedicated to of how the violence and the unnecessary violence in the Black community within itself, of how about making change within itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one, and I'm gonna let y'all go. So they shot their boy for nothing. Bullet to his backside, put him on his backside. Now his body chalk lying on the same concrete he was raised on. Paramedics came in through his body in a healthy bag, scooped his brains off the sidewalk and tossed it down the sewer. There was no point in resuscitation. They said the bullets came and went through the body like a thief in the night, but did you know that when a body hits the ground, it creates a sound that makes the hood go quiet, making every eyewitness suffer from amnesia. Ain't nobody seen, including the demons who pulled the trigger. So I guess the angels came too late, or the angels got their wings clipped from the same bullets that was fired at the victim. I think his name was Sean, or BJ, or Jay, or Jaquan, or Daquan, or D, or Keith, or James, or Rick, or E, or all I know is that there was another murder, another dead body. Another Black woman making funeral arrangements for a person she never planned to bury. It's crazy how they got caskets for teenage boys, that a square box is cut at the right dimensions for our feet and shoulders to fit in. Death must be comfortable. Death must be the best thing that a Black boy has to look forward to. His name became famous when the news flash turned his name into a hashtag, giving him a tombstone, made him a tombstone. His life was an urban legend, but legend has it, you make it to 18, you a G, so if you make it to 25, you a OG. The lifespan of our sons has dropped like war bombs, and we sit back to watch the explosion. Murder after murder news reports has become our daily sitcom, and we wonder why our lives are reality shows. We pray every Sunday to Jesus, as if poverty is not our God. Our cinder block walls has become our mansions, and our prayers without action is the reason why you can smell dead bodies from the gates of heaven. Holy water has never washed away blood-stained clothes. What God chose to save for people who chose not to save themselves. What does it mean to be blessed and highly favored when you treated his death as a coincidence and not a lesson? But why did he have to die? Was he disrespectful? Did he talk to the wrong girl? Did he stare too long at another Black face? Did he step on somebody's shoes and didn't say sorry? So did he die in vain? Or was he just at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person? How come we have to kill someone in order to make ourselves feel alive? I wonder what was his last words. Did he have a son, a daughter? Did he desire to be an athlete, a teacher, a construction worker, a chef, a judge, or just a dope boy? I heard through the grapevine he was an artist, but it's funny how his brains got painted on the concrete. His death was a masterpiece. They even said he looked better in the casket than he did alive. The sickness, that he wasn't even considered beautiful when he was breathing. That it took a death certificate for him to be fitted for his first suit. His graduation was at a funeral home. But when the dirt hits the box and the flowers are given, his name will be forgotten, as if he was never here, as if he never mattered, as if he was a coincidence. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you so much.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
Khalil, I just want to say thank you. And I'm envisioning you at the next presidential inauguration reading.
Woo! I receive all that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Whew. Thank you so much. I received that. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know how to say goodbye because
right, like
I don't think I want you to go. But
right.
I don't know, you've made this event so much more than I could have ever imagined for our school. So thank you again. And I don't want to say have a good night because it's hard to say bye, but thank you. This is magical. I don't think I would have ever saw this happening
this
for
is
Black History Month.
Yeah, this is amazing. I will say this, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. I will be at your college. I will be at y'all college. I will be there, rather it be in the summer or next fall, whatever. I will be there. So that's gonna happen. It's already happened. I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for putting that out there for us.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, I think what I appreciate the most that even through COVID, moments like this can still happen and take place, and they can still be just as moving. So COVID can't stop us from still having those experiences, you know?
Right.
And yeah, thank you. Such a healing night.
Yeah, absolutely. I needed this. I haven't performed in a minute, so I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Anybody want to say anything before we close out, before we leave this beautiful gathering? No.
We're going to hold you too coming out here.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Trust. It's going to happen.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming. It means the world to me, and I think, I don't know, this is just such a great night. Thank you for everybody coming, even from the East Coast, to help support Khalil tonight. Yeah, I know it's late, but we still made it happen. Yes, so keep doing well in your schooling. Do not give up. You got it. You already got the degree. You just got to work there to get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Woo!
Right. Take care, everybody. You all have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Christina, Ellie, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.